Actually, guys, we're here with our good friend Kip Moore. Thanks for being here, pal.
Good to be here.
As we were just recording the podcast, as you were talking about rabid fans, I had this visual from the Louisville show a couple of months ago. I think you were opening for, it was you and Luke Bryan were doing a tour together. And our good friend Brad Roby, who also happens to be one of my trainers, was losing it during your set on the side of the stage.
He enjoys the music. I love it. I love it that he does. I love it when people come and let their inhibitions down. That's the best.
I mean, he was. I need to show you the video because he was breaking it down so much that I was like crying, laughing on the side.
Yeah, we're gonna have to share this with everybody.
We'll share it just to embarrass Brad, who is not on social media, which makes it even better.
Oh gosh, because he can't respond. That's great.
There you go.
So, I mean, he's gonna make my life worse in a training session, but I feel like that's okay.
Yeah, it'll be good. It'll be good for you.
Hey, I would take a venue full of Brads all day over the other way.
I feel like you have a venue full of Brads.
We do for the most part. For the most part, yeah. People let their inhibitions down and like really cut loose, and that, you know, when you're up there trying to really pour yourself out, it's hard to do when people aren't giving it back.
Yeah.
So we went to the Kip Moore fan hour. What do you call your fan? Do you have a name for them?
The Slow Hearts.
What's the Slow Hearts? But as like when you rally them, a fan nation, a fan army.
I don't know if I have a name.
The leader. You're like their Braveheart, leading them into battle. The Slow Hearts. The Slow Hearts into battle. It works. Okay, so the fan questions we have.
Kip is like, crap, Hunter.
Sorry to see you as a mythical figure.
It's all good.
You're mythical.
It's all good.
Debbie Goins asks, we know that an acoustic album is one of the 3 projects Kip has been working on. Parentheses, Beyond Excited BTW.
All caps.
Can he tell us anything about the other 2 projects? So you have 3 projects going on?
Kind of, sort of.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I was just touched on the podcast that I'm definitely working on a full project that's like an Up All Night, Wild and Slow Heart, like a full project to release. Hopefully late spring, early next summer. I just finished working on the acoustic stuff. I have a lot of rock roots, and you know, there's a lot of rock and roll influences on a lot of my records. So, you know, we'll just say that, you know, maybe there's a record that's kind of, you know, in the future leaning towards tapping into all of that.
Okay.
And just being one thing.
Would there be like a rock collaboration with one of your heroes at some point? Like,
you know,
if you could do one, who would it be?
There's so many greats. So many great. You know, I've always loved Bryan Adams stuff. You know, I loved Seeger. I loved Springsteen. There was Jackson Browne. You know, there's so many that inspire me. The Black Crowes. I used to listen to a lot of Black Crowes records, Skinner. But I'm one of those that never thinks about collaborations. I'm constantly, you know, we live in, you know, a time now where it seems like everybody's constantly trying to collaborate, and it gets pressed on me a lot. You know, will you do this with so and so? And
it has to feel organic.
I've turned down so many collaborations that I've been like, I just don't want to do that. It doesn't make any sense with what I do, and if it doesn't make any sense what I do, I try to veer from that.
That's the thing. Like, you're not, instead of doing a cover song, you're just going to maybe have the influence of that song in your own music. So yeah.
Even when I do a cover band, and you know, when I do a cover in a live show, which I usually only do one, if I do any. You know, I try to do something that makes sense artistically and musically with what we're doing as a band. I see a lot of times the minute there's just whatever the current hit is, that's what everybody's covering, and it makes no sense with the rest of the set. I've always, whenever I see that, I don't know, I always feel silly to me. I always feels really silly. Yeah.
Okay, so we got another quick. Do you want to read this one?
I'll do this one.
Yeah.
So Dan White wants to know, now that you've had a year in to Wear It In, Slow Heart, which track from this record has surprised you, either in how you feel performing it or the audience reaction?
Yeah, because we had this 1-year anniversary of Slow Heart just happened.
I mean, we already talked about, I love that record, but
you know, out of the gate, it was the Bull right away. The crowd was really like latching on to that tune. Everybody loved Guitar Man out of the gate. That was the one I was probably the most excited to play. As people have had time to live with the record, I see Sunburn, Plead the Fifth kind of making their way. That's a different crowd reaction than initially. And for me personally, I go through a change, I feel like, every week of how I'm feeling differently about the songs and how I'm, for a minute, I've Been Around was my favorite to play.
Yeah.
I don't think I played I've Been Around in 6 months. So it's like, I'll come back to it, and all of a sudden it'll be my baby again, and then I'll step away from it. The consistent one that's just been like that one I've loved from the get-go is Fast Women. That song just is full throttle. It feels like old kind of 70s rock and roll to me, and I just, from the get-go, that one and Just Another Girl, I've just always loved playing those two songs.
In place for Mama King James.
There you go.
James called sinning.
Mama's
There you go.
King James.
Yeah.
Well, let's get sanctified a little
There you
bit.
go.
I want to, in our next portion, I want to go and bring out a copy of the Holy Book,
I read it.
Springsteen's Born to Run. Kip, I just feel like you're always giving us so much. I just want to take a moment for your soul to be fed by some reading
Okay.
of just a passage or two
Okay.
from Born to Run. And I want you to, whatever this prompts in your heart, I want you to
Okay.
say it. Okay, here we go. This one's called Roll Call. When the E Street Band initially gathered, I had no idea personally who my members were. Many of us had just met. It's only after the band leader utters the incantation 1, 2, 3, 4 that it begins. The Gree is summoned and all is revealed. In Asbury Park, our garden wasn't seeded. The bounty of musicians grew wild and you picked them where you found them. There was no master plan guiding band selection beyond instinct, geography, and the power of the music once we begin to play. If you're lucky and have chosen well, in the end, that's all it takes. What do you take from that?
He said it as eloquently as you could say it. I've been saying that for years as I got so... I think people, don't know how to process it when they're seeing something special on stage. They just feel what they feel. I love the fact that our fans know all the names of my band members. We're a band and they know all the names. They're constantly in the forefront. They're not in the back in the shadows. That's one thing. Organically, there's always been something special in the room with us. We have all the same guys except Dave Nassy, who's been with us now for a year and a half. Dave Lapsley left a year and a half, some personal things, and he had to move to Minneapolis. We miss you a lot, Dave Lapsley. We still love you to death. And he's going to come out and play with us some again in the future. But we've just always had a special bond, and I know you feel it and you see it when we're on stage together. And it's such an important thing when you're trying to create something unique. There's only so many guitar tones that you can have and you can pull up, but like when you all start, we have this thing amongst each other where it's an unspoken language in so many ways, but we had to weed out. I've had early on there was different drummers and different players, and all of a sudden it was like, I'd say 9, we've been together now for like the core of the band now has been together for 8, 9 some odd years. When we all like finally kind of morphed and you weeded out this and that and you started hanging with this person and playing with this person, when it all came together we were like, okay, this is it. And you it's an innate thing that you have inside of you. So we write on the records together. We're always vibing in sound check. It's a special thing that we have, and I know that the fans can kind of see it too when we're on stage together. They're not hired guns.
It's like brothers.
Yeah, 100%. So we're all reading, and playing off of each other. So I know exactly what he is meaning by that passage right there.
Love it. Well, thank you so much,
Thank
Kip
you, guys.
Moore.
Well, thanks for being here.
Yeah.
It's great to see
bet.
you.
You
Go
bet.
check it. He dropped a ton of knowledge on the podcast.
Ton.
Check it out.